Hello, this is our second video in finding percentages, and plan for this video is that we're going to be able to find a percentage of pretty much any number without using a calculator. So we're going to start off by thinking about 33 1/3%. Now you might remember from our fractions, decimals and percentage lesson a couple of weeks ago that we said that 33 1/3% is the same as, if I change that into a fraction, do you remember what we said? It's the same as 1/3. So if I want to find 33 1/3% of something, that's the same as finding a third. So how do I find a third? I divide it by 3. Divide by 3. So if a question asks us to find 33 1/3% of something, that's the same as finding a third, and the way we're going to do that is we're going to divide by 3. 1%. Now 1% as a fraction, we're going to do the same sort of idea here. 1%, do you remember what 1% would be as a fraction? Well, percent means out of 100. And if I've got 1%, then that's 1 out of 100. So if I want to find 1% of something, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to divide by 100. We've done dividing by 100 before, right? We imagine that we shift everything down 2 spaces in our place value columns. Okay, so let's look at some examples using those two then. So this one is asking me to find 33 1/3% of 60. So we said to find 33 1/3%, we divide by 3. So I'm going to take that 60, I'm going to divide it by 3, and the answer I'm going to get is 20. So 33 1/3% of 60 is 20. Let's do another. How about 33 1/3% of 24? Well, let's try that. 24 divided by 3, that's going to be 8. So our answer is 8. 33 1/3% of 24, the answer is 8. Okay, a 1% then. We're going to have to divide by, do you remember? We're going to have to divide by 100 this time. So 420, we're going to divide by 100. And if I divide it by 10, I would get 42, right? Everything would shift down 1 space. So if I divide by 100, it's going to shift down twice. That'll be 42, and then 4.2. So the answer is 4.2. What is 1% of 420 is 42. How about 1% of 70 then? So we're going to take our 70. We're going to divide it by 100. Now again, maybe it's best to think first about dividing this by 10. So if I take my 70 and divide it by 10, I'd get 7. So if I divide it by 100, I'm going to go one more step down. That's going to be 0.7. 0.7 is my answer. Okay, let's look at combining some of these percentagey things that we've learnt then. So I've got this sort of percentage spider situation going on here, and we're going to see if we can find all of these different percentages. So we're going to combine what we've just learnt with what we've learned in some previous videos as well. So 320, I want to find 50% of that. Now we said to find 50%, that's the same as half, so we're going to halve it, we're going to divide by 2. 320 divided by 2 is 160. Good, so that's our first one sorted. How about 25%? Well, that's a quarter, or halve it and then halve it again. So I've already halved it once, let's halve it again. What's half of 160? The answer is 80. Now, do you remember how to find 10%? We said to find 10%, we have to divide it by 10. So 320 divided by 10 is going to be 32. Now, the next one we've got is 5%. Now, how could I find 5%? Well, I can think of a couple of ways that I can do it, but probably the easiest way is if I know what 10% is, 5% is going to be half as much, isn't it? So what is half of 32? I'm going to take this 32 and halve it. That's going to be 16. Okay, so that's our 5%. Right, how about 20% then? Again, I can think of a couple of ways we could do it. We could take our 25% and we could subtract our 5%, that would work. Or, possibly an easier way, we could take our 10% and double it. That will tell me 20%, won't it? So 10% is 32, double it is 64. We've got 64 is my answer. Okay, 1%. That's one of the ones we just learnt, isn't it? 1%. So I'm going to have to take my 320 and divide it by 100 to find 1%. So 320, if I divided it by 10, I'd get 32, like this over here. So divide it by 100, one more step than that is going to be 3.2, isn't it? 3.2. Good. How about 2%? Well, I know 1%, so if I want 2%, let's double it, shall we? So we'll double 3.2. Well, I think it's going to be 6.4. Good. Okay, and now we get to a tricky one. 23% is what I'm asked for. Now again, I can think of a couple of ways that we can do this. We know 20%, we know 1%, we know 2%, so I could add all of those together. Or another way I could do it is I know 25% and I know 2%, so I could subtract 2% from 25%. Either way, we get the same answer. I think I'm going to go for that second method though. So 25% take away 2%, that'll be 23%, so that means I've got to do 80 take away 6.4. And I'm just going to do a wee chimney sum for that. 80 take away 6.4, making sure we line everything up really carefully. So 80, I'm going to stick a 0.0 on the end of that. So 0 take away 4 I can't do. I can't borrow from the 0, so I'm borrowing from over here. So that becomes a 10, that becomes a 9. Now we've got 10 take away 4 is 6, 9 take away 6 is 3, and we've got 7 take away nothing is 7. So it's not 736, is it? We need to make sure we pop back in that decimal point. So it's 73.6. 73.6 is my answer there. That's how we find 23%. I did 25% and I took away 2%. Or like I said before, we could have done 20% plus 1% plus 2%. And if you did that, you would have got exactly the same answer. Okay, we're going to do another one like this with one of these wee spiders. This time we've got 180 is our number in the middle, and we're going to see if we can find these different percentages around the outside. So let's get cracking with 50%. 50%, remember, is the same as half. So we're going to have half of 180, well that's 90. We're going to find half of that again, so a quarter, that's going to be 45. Oops, 45, there we go. Because I halved it, I'm going to halve it again, that's 45. What's 10% going to be? Well, I'm going to take my 180, I'm going to divide it by 10, that's 18. 5%, same as we did before, we can take our 10% and we can halve it, that'll be 5%. So what's half of 18? It's 9, isn't it? Good. Next one then, a little bit of thinking to do for this one, 35%. How can I get to 35%? Well, how about these two? These two are going to help me, aren't they? I know 25%, I know 10%, so let's add them together. Maybe we'll use a chimney sum for this bit. I've got 45 plus 18. If we add those guys up, 5 plus 8 is 13. 4 plus 1 plus 1 is 6, so it must be 63. 63 is my answer down here. Good. 1%. 1% is the next one. I'm going to take my 180, I'm going to divide it by 100. So if I divide it by 10, I'd get 18. If I divide once more, I'm going to get 1.8. Good. Next one then. I need to find 9%. How can I do that? Well, let's look at what we know and what we can sort of combine here. Well, I've got 10% and I've also got 1%. So let's do this one, take away this one. I'm going to write out my chimney sum. That's 18, take away 1.8. Pop in a 0.0 over here. 0 take away 8 I can't do, so I'm going to need to borrow from here. 10 take away 8 is 2, 7 take away 1 is 6, 1 take away nothing is 1. Remember to put in that point, 16.2. There's my answer, 16.2, good. And the final one then, we're asked to find 33.33%. And remember from before, that's just taking this number and dividing it by 3. We're going to find a third of it. So if I divide 180 by 3, I reckon I get 60. Good, well done. Okay, we're going to look at a few examples without the spider to help us. So, we want to find 45% of 140. Now let's think about how we can get close to this 45%. Well, 50% is quite close, isn't it? So let's start with that. So 50% of 140 equals 70. We just need to halve it, don't we? So that's going to be 70. What else can I do? Well, I'm 5% too much here, aren't I? So I really want to find 5%. But if I'm going to find 5%, probably the best way is to start with 10%. So 10% of 140, so this time we're going to have to divide by 10. That's 14, which means 5% of 140 is going to be, well, 5% is half of 10%, so half of 14 is 7. So what am I going to do? If I want 45%, I can do 50% take away 5%, can't I? So that's going to be, choose a new colour for this bit, 45% of 140 equals, we're going to need to do a calculation here, so it's for 50%, which is 70, take away the 5%, which is 7, 70 take away 7, maybe you can do this in your head without the chimney sum. I've got 10 take away 7 is 3, 6 take away nothing is 6, I've got 63. So my answer here is 63. 45% of 140 is 63. Good. A few more like that. Let's find 85% of 48. Okay, so what can we do here? Let's start off with a nice easy one. Let's start off with 50% of 48. So 50% is half, so half of 48 is 24. Should we work out 25% as well of 48? That's going to be, well, that's half again, isn't it? We can halve it and halve it again, so that'll be 12. And now if I were to add these together, that would give me 75%, wouldn't it? Whereas I want 85%. So let's add on another 10%, shall we? Let's work out a 10%. So 10% of 48 equals, what's it going to be? It's 4.8, isn't it? Now I reckon all I need to do to work out 85% now is add all of these together. So let's do that then. If I add all of these up, this plus this plus this, that's going to be 85% of 48. Now I've not done a very good job of lining these numbers up, have I? So I'm going to just shuffle them across a wee bit so they're all in nice columns. So I've got a 12 here and I've got a 4.8 here. There we go. I just need to add them together. Okay, so what have we got? I've got nothing plus 8. That is 8. I've got 4 plus 2 plus 4. That's 10. So I'm going to need to write this 0 and carry my 1. And now I've got 2 plus 1 plus 1. That's 4. So my answer is 40.8. So 85% of 48 is 40.8. Cool, we're going to do a couple more. Okay, a tricky one this time, 19% of 60. So let's start off with a 10%, I think is going to be helpful here. So 10% of 60, that's going to be 6, right? We divide it by 10, so we get 6. Can we work out 20% then? 20% of 60 is going to be twice as much. If I know 10% is 6, 20% is going to be twice that, so it's going to be 12. And so 20% is a little bit more than I want, isn't it? Because I want 19%. So let's find that spare 1% that we want to get rid of. 1% of 60. Now I'm going to have to divide this by 100 now. If I divide it by 10, I get 6. And if I divide it by 10 once more, that's going to be 0.6. 0.6 is my answer, which means to get 19%, again we'll swap colours here, 19% of 60, that's what we're after. We're going to have to do 20% take away 1%. So let's try that then. 20% was 12, take away 1% was 0.6. Going to have to do some carrying and borrowing here, aren't we? So I'm going to put a 0.0 on the end of my 12. And 0 take away 6 I can't do, so I'm going to borrow from here. 10 take away 6 is 4, 1 take away nothing is 1, 1 take away nothing is 1. So I've got not 114, remember? Then we need to put back in that decimal point. We've got 11.4. There we go, there's my answer, 11.4. Good work. Final one of these will do. Got 7% of 160. So let's start off maybe with 10% of 160. Of 160. What's 10% of 160 going to be? Well, I think it's going to be 16, isn't it? Now 10% is a bit too big. Let's halve it then. Let's find 5%. 5% of 160 is going to be half of 16, so that's 8. Now we're still not quite there, are we? We're at 5%, we want 7%, so we're going to need a 1% in here as well, aren't we? Let's get a 1% of 160. So I'm going to take this and divide it by 100. So if I divided it by 10, I'd get 16. So I need to shift down one more time. It's going to be 1.6. 1.6. Good. Now, if I add these together, I'm going to get 6%. So I want another one of these, really, don't I? I want this to be 2%, in fact. So let's work out what 2% is of 160. Well, it's going to be 2 of these. So what's double 1.6? I think it is 3.2. 3.2, there we go. And now I can just add together. I'm going to put little stars next to the ones I'm adding. This one plus this one, right? That's what I'm going to have to do. That'll make 7%. So that'll give me 7% of 160 equals this plus this. So in my chimney sum, 8 plus 3.2, we've got nothing plus 2, that's 2. 8 plus, oh, I should put a plus sign in there. 8 plus 3 is 11. So we've got not 112, but we've got 11.2. Good stuff. Okay, I'll see you later, guys. Bye-bye.